do it even with that off. Alrighty, welcome back everybody to the Turn Left Podcast, episode 77. This episode is sponsored by Sara Kay Speedshots and POINT Woodworks. Tonight we have a very special guest for you. He's a late model champion, has a quickly growing YouTube channel. Everybody knows who he is. AirDoug, everybody. At least I say everybody knows who he is. Thanks for joining me, dude. I really appreciate it.
Man. No problem. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so first off, I want to talk about your YouTube channel just because I'm a huge fan. I just found out about it a couple weeks ago, but you've been doing it for, what, a year or two now?
Well, I always kind of made some like gaming videos back in the day, and then I always wanted to get into racing videos. And we had my buddy come around with a camera back in 2019, and I had footage, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And, before the season started, I was making videos with that footage, kind of doing like some story videos, like, this stuff happened then. We talked all about it. We had some like really wild stuff happen back in 2019, and we had a camera there for it.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I'm going to give everybody like a behind the scenes look, because not a lot of people, know what it looks like in the pits at the track. So I thought it would be cool to kind of vlog that experience. And then really they aren't vlogs anymore. It's more of, a really heavily edited video that I kind of just, we crack jokes the entire time. We mess around on the radio and we just have a good time. So it's not so much a behind the scenes thing anymore, but it's really been something I've been looking to do for a long time. So to pull it off the way that we are right now is a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I think it's well received. It's a lot of fun watching them. I've been watching them like literally nonstop for the past couple weeks, and dude, the editing and stuff is so impressive. Do you do all that yourself? Are you the producer and everything?
We were just talking about this off the air, but my buddy Wyatt, he films for me weekly, and then this week he's not with me. I have my buddy Justin doing it. But once we get back, Sunday to Tuesday, that is dedicated to the videos. So probably about like 6 hours is going over all the video, like the footage itself. I watch every single clip that we take, whether it be a transition or the race and the good parts. And then it's time to edit. And it's a lot easier if you have a song that you want to go to. You can, mess around with the transitions to the song if you know it. But I mean, a lot of the times it's a good 12 to 15 hours of editing
per video.
Yeah, before you're even ready to render.
Well, that was actually another one of my questions, and I want everybody to understand this because when I watch it, I've tried to do some video editing and stuff like that. I've never really had software, and I'll ask you about that. But so I have a whole new respect, or a whole different respect for how hard it is and how many hours it took. So I was going to ask you how many hours you put into each video, but I don't think a lot of people realize that because when they're watching that stuff and they're not a creator at all, they just are like, oh, that's such a cool video, and they see it in 11 minutes. They're like, oh, it might have taken them a half hour to make.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that, the 11 or 12 minute video, like you said, takes 11 or 12 hours, sometimes more, 15.
Yeah.
And is that pretty much, do you have a regular job or are you a student? I don't even know how old you are.
I'm 23.
Okay. So are you a student or do you do pretty much racing and that for your full time?
So, my family owns a paving company, so that's why BARNES paving is normally on the car. Like that's what I do week in, week out, and I work there, and that's how we pay for everything. But recently we got Jones Junction on the car, so now they're paying for everything. But this summer I decided to focus on like my stocks a lot more and like day trading and some crypto stuff. So I actually moved to Ocean City, Maryland. So now I live like on the beach. And
nice.
So the beauty of stocks is I had the freedom to create my own schedule. So that's how I'm able to do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, just this. And I mean, it works out really well, but it's a good time.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah.
Busy guy. No, I'm a huge fan, man. I like I said, have a whole respect for your channel, and I can tell just from the level of content you're producing, I think it's going to be growing really quickly.
I hope so.
And shout out to Dinah for sharing that post that got me into it. I don't know how I missed it before that, but yeah, either way, I'm a huge fan. What started off your racing career? Like, what did your dad used to race? How did you even get into it?
I'm first generation. I think my dad was just a NASCAR fan in the 90s, and then I kind of grew up watching, early 2000s NASCAR. I was born in 97, but I was watching NASCAR from like the day I was born. And we used to have these little Power Wheel cars, and my brother had a dump truck, and I had a NASCAR. And so we had a concrete pad in our driveway, and we'd set cones up, and we'd just run in circles all night. And then, back then they used to run, I think it was Infineon, it's Sonoma now, and Watkins Glen. So we'd do 2 road courses throughout a month, and that would be our schedule. And then one day when I was 6, my dad brought back a go-kart, and he's like, hey, you want to, run this up at a track called Sandy Hook Speedway right by my house? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So we did that.
How old were you at that time?
I was 6 when he got it. I turned 7 because we went racing in March. My birthday's in December. So I just turned 7. I was in like the kid division, and I went out there and I was doing good. And then the next year you get to compete. So I did that, and I won some races. And before you know it, we were at like a national level, and then we were just constantly going through everything like that.
But you started in go-karts, and really you were good at that, and that kind of progressed you. And I saw you race trucks for a while too.
I did. I ran super trucks at Hickory, and that was a lot of fun.
Where is Hickory?
Hickory Motor Speedway. It's in Hickory, North Carolina. So
that's a long drive. You're from Maryland?
Well, yes, I am from Maryland, but we did live down there for a while because that was actually a lot of fun back then, because I would race test Friday, race Saturday, have Sunday off, go to the summer shootout Monday, Tuesday, work on the cars for the rest of the week, and then do it again. That was like a 12-week thing probably, or 9-week thing, but
wow,
it's a lot of racing.
Yeah. Well, you're still doing a lot of racing. You said today you started testing at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, nobody knows this is pre-recorded. It's almost 10 p.m. right now. You just got here. Granted, it was an hour away, but that's 8 hours of testing.
Yeah, good 8 hours. It was a good day. It was a lot of fun. Anytime you get to be in a race car is a good day. So
it's hot in there though. I had to get the AC going for you.
Yeah.
You gonna put it on him tomorrow?
I think so. We were really dealing with a motor that had no business being in our car. We rebuilt it twice, and finally after the past race 3 weeks ago, we're like, okay, we're done messing with this thing. We're just getting killed up out of the corner, and it looked like we were running a limited against the late models. We were still finishing good, but it was just because of some late race restarts, and that was about it. And it was so frustrating, especially, making videos and stuff, because I'm like, we're going to be okay in this second race, and then, like, I'm staying positive, but deep down I'm like, man, this motor is just, like, restricting me so much. So we got a new rear end, a new transmission, a new motor. It's basically a brand new car that we brought to the track. And, we hit the track for probably about 3 hours, like bottoming out.
Yeah. And then Doug's like, if I don't win this race this weekend, I'm not going to get that many views on YouTube, dude. Like,
Well, the problem, I'd said it at the end of my second video, and, this is a side note, but my videos are way better now than they were when I first started. And, it kind of sucks in a way.
Your first one was better than my last one.
Well,
they're all pretty good, to be honest. I've watched them all now. I was just preparing for this week, and they're entertaining, so I wasn't trudging through it.
The editing and everything else, like, I've learned a lot as I went, but I won the first 2 races. So it's like I didn't have all that editing experience, and then I won the races, and now I don't have, the finishes that I want for the editing style that I have. Because now it's, the first couple races, if I had the radio recordings, it would have been so much fun to add to the video. But of course, I didn't know how to record radios back then. And then, we won. I don't want to say we peaked because we're gonna win soon.
Yeah,
but
you won earlier this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm saying like peak then. And then.
Yeah. But. And I don't even know how you do the recording of the. What is it, like a capture card, almost like that?
It's a little. I'm going to have to figure it out because I'm pretty sure it broke today when we were practicing. So I think what I might do is I might take an extra radio and grab my phone and record it inside the trailer. I'll put it in a box or something, try and reduce the sound as much as possible. But it's a little like handheld Sony thing, and I just take an aux from one of the extra radios and I plug it directly into that, and then
Oh yeah, I know technical issues, dude. I'm all over them here. Yeah, I could cry you a river. All right, so we got into that. And then once you got into, because in my opinion, transitioning from go-karts to real race cars is a big jump.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people do it and a lot of people do it successfully. So when you got into the trucks, was there any transition struggles there? And then also, now you're competing against Peyton Sellers. It's insane, the cars that you're in now. So is there always, every time you transfer cars, is there always a huge, or do you learn it really fast? Because obviously you're a good driver.
It's actually funny because, like I said, I did the legend cars, so that was in between the go-karts, the trucks. So trucks and late models are easy compared to that. The only difference with this stuff is, I mean, obviously outside of the size, is the tire conservation. Because when you run a legend car, you just go. You just
hammer
go.
down.
Because
they have radials and the tires stay cooler longer.
Yeah, and then you run those tires for 5-6 races throughout the season before you ever get another set.
Angle shaved and everything.
And so getting into a truck, even though a truck was only like a 35-lap race, the first race I went out there, set the world on fire for the first couple laps, and then I was in 5th place after being up in the top 2 for most of the race. So I got a hard lesson about saving tires, and then also my first season in late models, we went down to Myrtle Beach, and that place is a tire eater. It's like racing on rocks pretty much. So that was the biggest thing. But car control wise, the throttle down pretty much. They got a lot of grip everywhere you go. Maybe Florence is the only place I've been to that you can't really get back to the gas that hard.
Yeah.
But still,
Did you ever drive at Southside Speedway?
I haven't, no.
Have you ever attended a race or anything? Seen videos at least?
No, I've never been down there. They closed, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you definitely can't get back in the gas there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a tight...
I've seen the track before.
It's a tiny bull ring, yeah. 3/10 of a mile.
We were talking about Dinah. Her husband, Willie.
Yes.
I saw him put something on Facebook the other day, and it's true about everybody starts talking about a track once it's gone.
Yeah.
And, everybody needs to really push to support the local short tracks and stuff. So in the next video, I'm kind of trying to put stuff in there, make sure you get out here and stuff, because I think it's a big problem. Because, NASCAR doesn't really do too much to help out the tracks.
Yes.
To my knowledge, at least.
Well, one thing, NASCAR wasn't NASCAR sanctioned. I mean, Southside Speedway. Sorry, Southside Speedway wasn't NASCAR sanctioned.
Okay.
It was technically a backyard track. 2, it was doing pretty well. The car counts and the modifieds and the grand stocks were down in 2018. It's last year. 2019. And I love Willie and I love Dinah. And I do agree with his post. The only thing, when it pertains to Southside, it was doing great up until COVID happened, and then they decided not to open, even though Dominion did. Dominion took the hit. A couple of the tracks decided to stay open with no fans and take the hit. Southside Speedway, being a family-owned, I don't think they could take that hit or didn't want to.
Yeah.
So they closed literally mostly due to COVID. Granted, they could have reopened this year, but I think that once they took a whole year off and realized how nice it was to, I guess, not have to work, I don't know. I mean, it's a lucrative piece of land that it's sitting on. The county's thinking about buying it for $5 million.
Oh, wow.
So,
and it was inherited too. The current owners weren't.
It's the daughter of the original owner.
It's
she's an older lady.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of over it.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but as far as it not getting the support from the drivers or the fans, I don't think that statement is true, because up until they never opened, which you could blame Corona, whatever you want on that, it was still, you can go to the U-Car races. We had more cars than Dominion in the U-Car races. We had, sometimes 15, 20 plus late models at Southside, a little bit different rules package, but there was good car counts in some of the classes, and there was plenty of people in the stands. So I think it's mostly due to the COVID stuff, but I don't know, I'm rambling on now. But I agree, you do need to support the tracks, because there was a period that I went through where I would track bash and stuff like that. Just, I don't even know why. I was just, an angry kid or whatever.
Yeah, well, I didn't, like I said, the only thing I ever knew about Southside Speedway was the name and what it looked like, so I wasn't sure of that.
It was such a cool track.
With Myrtle Beach was NASCAR sanctioned, but, every time that I raced there, there's 10 people.
Really?
So,
yeah, I heard about that, and that closed down. Everybody was sad about that too, but did you ever race there?
At Myrtle Beach? Yeah, I raced there a lot.
Yeah.
I raced, before the Cars Tour became the Cars Tour, it was the Pro Cup Series. I ran the Pro Cup Series there. And then I ran the Myrtle Beach 400 a few times, and then I also ran the limited race, whatever that would be, prior.
So you're from Maryland right now. You said you used to live in North Carolina for a short stint. Where did you grow up? Where were you go-kart? Okay.
In Maryland, yeah. And then once we got into legend cars, and I was just, we were staying at a hotel 5 days a week. So, we got a house down there.
So your family essentially moved for your Legends career, kind of, to better your racing career.
Well, it wasn't, for that. But it wasn't just for legend cars. When I started doing the trucks and late models, and it was a 5 day a week thing. Then, because we worked on the legend cars ourselves, so we had to beat it. We couldn't just take it back and then have a day to work on it and then take it all the way back. We needed time. So it was either going to stay with somebody or get a house, and we chose the house direction. And I wish we would have chose a house that had like a air-conditioned garage. There's a lot of hot days in that garage. But
So y'all you did your setups on the Legends cars. And back to the motor issues you've been having, who works on the car mostly? Where does it stay? Do you have a team? Obviously you do have a team, but is it kind of like Davey Callahan where it's him and his dad, or is it a little bit higher up than that?
Yeah, I don't see the car. Like it's stationed in North Carolina with Chase Pistone. He does all the stuff.
Okay.
Because now it's at the point where, I talked about moving to the beach, but this is like 2 months ago, and it'll go back to this in another 2 months when I go back home. But I'm at the position where I can't be gone for that long anymore because I'm a big part of like the sales when it comes to like our company. So if you don't sell stuff, you don't race.
Yes.
So everybody has their own ways of getting to the track, and I would really love to. I feel like I don't know as much about the cars as I could, but you got to do what you do to stay in the seat.
Yeah.
So people say their own stuff like, oh, you show up and race, but I mean, you got to pay for it. So you got to do what you got to do.
I mean, yeah, that's more common than not nowadays.
I think so.
Even my last couple of years of racing, up until last year in mini stock and stuff like that, I raced for somebody else, and I used to keep it here, but that was about it. If I wrecked it or something bad happened mechanically or something, I would literally take it to the car owner shop, butt out, and he would, fix it there or whatever. I would change tires and stuff, but I wouldn't get insane. And I kind of know, I did street stock and grand stock on my own for a while. So, I kind of know what's up, but it was once I had kids and stuff like that. So it was like, I didn't have the time to be working on it. So I was that fortunate too. And trust me, it doesn't really like change anything. A lot of people, I guess, will judge you. I wouldn't have never judged you. A lot of the guys at your level, how many of the guys are really working
there's
on
not
the car?
too many guys turning a wrench at this level.
Yeah. Maybe Davey Callahan, that's about it.
Yeah, maybe. And, honestly, that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head because a lot of the guys are,
and that's who
they show up and test. What's that?
That's who builds your chassis down there too?
No, Forrest Reynolds. He builds our chassis.
Okay.
So we actually just got Philip Morris's new car. So we're going to be running that next weekend in the South Boston 200. So that'll be the first race that I run in his car. So that's another Reynolds chassis.
You do travel kind of a lot. What's your favorite track to race at?
Well, I really like Dominion, but I was a huge fan of Myrtle Beach, and I guess I can't really say that's my favorite place to race. That was my favorite place to race at, but now Dominion's a really fun track, and I have a lot of experience there, so it's fun going there. But Myrtle Beach was a really tough track. Like, there was nothing easy about that because the 1 year for the 400, I was fastest in final practice, and I hit a rumble strip I didn't even know existed down at the bottom of the wall in turns 3 and 4. I qualified 43rd. We didn't even attempt to run the B-main. We just left.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So,
but other than those types of races, they didn't have the greatest car count, you said?
I don't know. I didn't go there on local races. I went there for the big races. I meant as far as like we were talking about people in the stands.
Oh,
so
okay.
There was never anybody there.
Oh.
Everybody sat up at the top row, and there might have been 20 to 30 people there.
Jeez.
I know. It was rough.
And isn't it pretty populated where that's at?
It's in Myrtle Beach. There's a lot of stuff to do there. So, people going there on vacation, I'm not too sure if they would want to go to a racetrack.
I guess.
Yeah. I would. If I would go down there. But
pretty ideal to me.
Yeah.
Made me want to take a trip to Myrtle Beach all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so Myrtle Beach, if you had to pick a new one, I guess Dominion would be your new favorite.
Yeah, Dominion or Southern National. Southern National is another fun track too.
Yeah. Yeah, you've raced quite a few tracks, I guess. How do you run at Sobo? Have you been there?
Nope.
Never been there.
Yeah,
it's pretty similar to
Dominion, that's what they said. It's like a narrower version. They got a lot of grip there. So I was going to be going there on Sunday. We're going to bring both cars, and we were just going to go directly to South Boston after. But I think we're pushing that back. I think I'm going to go to North Carolina after we're done this race, and I'm going to go with the team to South Boston. Then they're going to go back, work on it, and I'm going to go home, and then I'll come back on Friday. We'll test again, and then we'll race on Saturday.
Wow.
So it's going to be a lot of driving this week.
Yeah. Do you hate driving outside of a race car?
I'm not the biggest fan of it. Usually I can put on a podcast and kind of just like, it sounds bad, but zone out and just, time goes by.
That's all. What, do you listen to a lot of podcasts, I guess, then? Since you do a lot of driving? Mostly what kind? Comedy or business?
I listen to a lot of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a good one.
Yeah.
One of the best, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why he's one of the biggest.
Yeah,
that one's great. There's so many, and there's so many.
I know.
Are you a big UFC fan?
I really wasn't until I started watching. I would watch some of the bigger fights, like if Conor McGregor fought or something like that.
Yeah.
But now I find myself watching every UFC.
Really?
If I'm not racing, I'll be watching it. So
really,
I mean, I couldn't tell you like any moves or anything like that, but I just know I just like seeing people hurt each other.
Yeah, you're not saying you can fight. Yeah.
So, they're doing stuff that I would never dream of doing. So.
Yeah, you're not practicing head kicks out in the garage or anything like that.
Nah.
Unless you get a Tyler Hughes little bag out there or something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. All right, so that's essentially where you got the name, obviously, AirDoug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get blocked for saying that, but...
Really? I'll probably get blocked for having you on, no?
Yeah, probably.
I like the shirt, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get one as soon as you get more.
Well, Well, these aren't mine. Somebody made this.
Really?
Yeah. Do you see what it says?
Oh, yeah, I see it. Oh, yeah, I know. I got on...
So awesome.
I got you on Twitter in the past couple weeks, ever since we scheduled this episode.
Yeah.
And I followed you on Twitter, and I started reading, you and the guy in the Xfinity series or whatever.
Oh, Myatt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Myatt came from my head. Yeah. Oh, he's a fruity guy. Myatt came from my head
back when
it happened. It was like, well, we'll go through the incident in a minute. But, when I got on Twitter and I was going home, Myatt was just making all sorts of tweets. It might have only been two. It's probably two. But,
That's a lot.
It was blowing up my mentions for like a verified guy. And I knew Myatt from back in the day when I used to race legend cars, but we never raced each other. He was in semi-pro, I was in Young Lions. He's older than me.
Yeah.
And I think he's older than me. He was a higher class either way. And he's like, some people never change. And he was talking about like my racing style, like in a different tweet. I'm like, how do you know what I race like? One, the only time that we had ever talked to each other, if we ever talked to each other, it would have been at like a driver's meeting. I've never had a run-in with him. I never had any issues with him.
Yeah.
And really, in legend cars, like I said, we did all of our own stuff. So we didn't even know that everybody in legend cars runs traction control until after we were out of legend cars. So, I was always like a 10th place. I didn't know that either. Yeah, well, at the summer shootout, it's like that.
What a bunch of...
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. But, so I was always like a 10th place car. I was never really running for wins. So I didn't get into it that much with people. Nobody cares about you when you're running back there. So for him to come at me like that, I'm like, man, what a clown. So do you... what's the guy that owns Barstool Sports?
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, so you know how he has enemies, and he has like the wine or champagne glasses with enemies' names on it.
And once he celebrates when they mess up.
Yep. So Myatt messed up, and I was the first one to jump on it. I don't even follow him. Luckily, somebody retweeted it, and I saw it. And I'm like, all right, I've been waiting for this.
What's his name? Myatt.
Myatt Snyder.
Myatt.
Yeah.
What kind of name? Okay.
Yeah. He's Marty Snyder's son, the reporter.
Okay.
So if that tells you how he's in the Xfinity
I'm cool with Marty, but Myatt is a goofy name.
Yeah, he's a goofy guy. So.
And you pretty much retweet. Long story short, Myatt made a non-PC joke apparently on Twitter. We don't even know what it is. But
I could tell you what it is. It's not bad. Really, look, I don't like Myatt, but
you don't actually think he should get
it was
canceled.
just bad luck. It was bad. So look, this kid Daniel Dye, he's sponsored by some sort of raise awareness for suicide or something like that, and he quoted it because he was talking about how Daniel Dye is getting more ARCA rides this year. So he said that's really to die for, and he spelled Dye as his last name. Well, Dye and suicide aren't going together too well. I mean, it's a mistake, but like I said,
hey, change your name to Logan Paul, baby.
I'm going to be the first one to jump on it when that happens.
Oh yeah, especially when he's making an apology tweet, and then pretty much what you did was you used the exact same verbiage that he used towards you, but entered his name into it and said, I hope you perma-ban him, blah, blah, blah. 'Cause that's what he said about you when everything happened.
Exactly. I replied to my tweet just in case people didn't remember. I put the exact screenshot of what he said to me. So I kept the receipts.
I'm not very good at Twitter. I'm a boomer, so it took me a second, but I found it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that was awesome. Once I understood the joke, I was like, that's hilarious. And you do have a pretty big Twitter, too. Like, I have like 9 followers on Twitter. I don't understand how to build my Twitter up, but...
Well, I gained a good bit from that incident last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on Twitter for a long time, so a lot of them are like, people I know from home.
Yeah.
then, if Race 22 shouts you out, if they're covering a race, you usually gain some followers during that too. So.
They never shout me out. And same with your YouTube. Did that, because you were doing gaming and stuff before you did AirDoug?
Yeah, I used to be big into CSGO. So like when I was in college, it's a FPS, and it's fun. And I was really big into it for a while, and I used to do like tournaments and stuff like that. I travel around doing it.
You're big, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to do it like when I wasn't racing, because I was in school, so I was just having a good time playing some video games. I got good at it, so I started trying to win some money. Back then, tournaments used to be for 15 Bitcoin, and I never won it. I wasn't that good back then, but
that would be a little chunk of change now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd be definitely in the truck series or something right now if I won one of them tournaments. But
is that your eventual goal, to end up in the truck series or the ARCA or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's hard to say.
The goal would, obviously, to be like the running the Cup Series. That's what
obviously,
wants,
but I meant there first, like as a next step.
Yeah, probably trucks or ARCA and K&N, whatever that's going to become, something like that. I don't know. It really depends on funding, because I could be there now. Like we're not as funded as like Peyton Sellers is, but we're a good funded late model team. Like we spend a good amount. Like we got 2 brand new cars right now, just sitting there ready to go.
Yeah.
And so we're funded. That's not a problem. But I'm competitive. I want to race for wins. I don't want to go to the truck series and run 15th every week. I almost I can't say this from experience, because obviously I haven't done it, but I feel like those guys that go up there and they run around in the back, it's at some point you got to lose that competitive drive, right? Because if you go halfway across the country knowing you're not going to win, you're not going to have the same drive.
You're just doing it to be saying that you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, good for you. You're verified on Twitter. You got you're in the top series. You get some TV time. That's good. You're probably making money from it. If your parents aren't paying for it. Like the one guy that I can think of that really like works his tail off is Spencer Boyd. Like that, he is a hard worker. That man sells sponsorship like, I don't know. Like he's really good at it, and he's one of the hardest working guys in the top 3 series. But he's not in the equipment to go out there and compete for wins. But that dude's just as hungry to get sponsorship as anybody else is to win. But
yeah. So I mean, yeah. I guess the progression through the sport is so strange too, because some people go right into the Xfinity series, some people go into the truck series and do well, some people go into the truck series and don't do anything. And I guess it does have a lot to do with what you're saying, like funding and stuff like that. Have you ever had somebody reach out and like offer you a ride at all, or maybe even a subpar ride that you're like, I'd rather not, because I don't want to mess up your name or whatever, you know what I mean? You don't want to go out there and underperform and then everybody says, oh, Doug sucks.
I think I'm close enough with people around me that they would understand. Like if I took a truck ride and I ran around 20th,
yeah,
like they'd be, hey, good for you.
Because
that's why I have buddies that are in the truck series, and they know they're not going to win. I know that they're not going to win. I still support them. I'm like, yeah, man, go out there, go outperform your equipment. If you're a 25th car, finish 20th. Like, do good. Like, people will recognize if you finish better than what your equipment is worth.
Yes.
But the only time I can think of is actually with Spencer. He was out with a back injury last year, and they talked about possibly putting me in the truck in Martinsville. And when I say put in the truck, pay to get in the truck, and it was just a stupid amount of money, and it was not worth it just to go, run a few laps down. It just didn't seem worth it. It's like, for the amount that it would have cost to run that truck, we could have ran a quarter season of late models. It's like,
yeah, I had not a similar situation because it wasn't even serious, and once I got the numbers, it was insane. But and it was a ridiculous offer. I think I was in street stock or something at the time, so it didn't even make sense. But somebody from Jeb Burton's, hit me up, and they were like, "Hey, man, you could, potentially get a ride in Jeb Burton's late model, because he was doing truck series or Xfinity at the time, so his late model was like open, and they were trying to rent it out. Yeah. So he gave me the price, and it was like, oh my god, like I could sell my street stock, everything I own, and it wouldn't even, you know what I mean? And even if I would have been like, yeah, I've got the money, that it was still would have gone through a review process, and they're like, he's never even driven a late model. This is not happening.
Yeah.
So it wasn't ever on the brink of happening, but I got at least a number from it because the guy hit me up just asking. I won like 7 out of 12 that year or something, and he was a local guy that reps Jeb Burton.
Okay.
So anyway, when I heard that number, I was like, oh my god, it made me sweat from my heels.
Yeah.
It was insane. But yeah. What about so you didn't really do too much Maryland racing. Is there any racetracks up in Maryland?
I ran road course.
Oh.
That's what I did back in the day. So
In what division?
Well, it was called the WK Gold Cup, and it was you had club, divisional, national. Club was that track, Sandy Hook, that I had talked about. That was where I first started. And it's funny because where I'm about to start building the house, I live on the back side of Sandy Hook Road. So I'm literally less than a minute away from the track that I started at.
Really?
Yeah, when I go back to where I live. And there's another track in Chestertown, Maryland, and then there's another one in West Virginia, Summit Point Raceway, if you know what that is.
I've heard of it.
So that's the divisional circuit. And then the national circuit is anywhere from like Indiana to Florida. And, it was usually like 4 to 6 races a year for the national one. But, you went everywhere. I think my first ever national race was actually the infield
Which
track
division
in Daytona.
is this?
This is WK Gold Cup. It's not a series anymore.
What is it, though?
It's
Like
Go-Karts.
a legend? Oh, Go-Karts.
Go-Karts,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, even back, it took me like 2 whole minutes when you said FPS earlier. I was like, oh, first-person shooter. Yeah. I caught up to you like a minute later, and I was distracted. Like,
We were past that already.
Yeah. All right, so you do check in on a lot of the UFC. Your AirDoug here, I'm sure you saw the Habib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor fight.
Yes. I was in Texas when that happened. Yeah. And
This
I saw
looks
the end of it. It does, yeah. It
like
looks like when he jumped off
Habib.
the cage.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude, it's so awesome. So when I see that, obviously you can see though you got a helmet and Hans device even in the silhouette.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, your marketing is genius, and that just taking that name and running with it. Did you create that name, or did people start calling you that right after the incident? I know I've touched on this, and I keep on going all over the place with topics, but
Somebody tweeted it at me. They're like, "You're an idiot if you don't make a T-shirt that says AirDoug," and I was like, "That's a great idea." I didn't have the YouTube channel at the time, but I was like, "That's a really good idea." So I told people I was going to do it, and that was what kind of got me into some stuff because I said it like immediately after it happened, and people were like, "He's saying, are we going to go through the situation?"
go for it, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
So
We're only at 30 minutes.
well, I mean that way I don't just like branch off and then it never all comes together.
Go for it. I'd do it more than you could think.
Well, with this, I said that and people really started getting mad at me, like, "Oh, he was hurt." And I'm like, "Dude, I didn't know this."
Yeah, it's not like you
I
actually
did not know this.
Oh, not only that, but you didn't go through the windshield or anything.
I did no harm to him.
No. Might have broke the windshield.
Somebody had told
$100.
me, yeah, I didn't even do that.
Oh, okay.
So I don't even think I bent the brace because I remember somebody put that on Facebook and they're like, "You didn't even bend that like 1/8 aluminum."
Yeah,
like,
Doug's a featherweight. He didn't do much damage.
Yeah. Well, when I was in the air, I didn't know what I was going to do, okay? I wanted to fight, and then I got out, and I was wrecked against the wall, so I was like, I'm going to jump on his car.
Yes.
So I thought I was going to, like, spear, like, through the the windshield. I'm like, I'm really going to mess my legs up if I do that. So I was like, that's not a good idea. So that's how I got the cannonball at the last second. I looked out for myself, and then I hit it, and then I was like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah, and then there's people yelling at you and pulling you off the car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was so big. It's already at, like 302,000 views on Facebook?
Yeah,
what is it at on everything else?
Oh, I don't know. There's a couple more with like 250,000 and then some with like 70 to 100,000. I haven't like looked at it in a long time, but back then it was pretty big. When I got back to my pits, somebody brought it up to me. It had 5,000 views on it. And it was
already
within like 10 minutes. Like it could not have been longer than 10
Oh, I remember
minutes.
seeing it.
Yeah,
It spread quick.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was doing that night. I was here. I remember when I was here when I saw it, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you at the time. I'd seen your car. I'd seen your success, but I didn't know, like, because even in the video, I've never even seen your face at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what you looked at like, you know
That's
what I mean?
what a lot of people said.
Yeah, so then I still didn't know what you looked like. Maybe, obviously, we were friends on Facebook or something like that, but I don't like scroll through and like creep on Doug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then so once I saw your YouTube channel, obviously you're very personal. And you've got videos of yourself and everything. I was like, oh yeah, and I realized I was like, I've never even seen what he looks like because he had the helmet on when it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's such an iconic video. Mm-hmm. And did you want to add anything to it? I don't want to cut you off.
I was going to start from the beginning.
Go for it.
All right, so I'll start from the beginning. So pretty much, I want to start off by saying too, I don't hate Tyler. I just think he's a bad driver, and he's a clown when he's in the race car. And I like, as a guy, he's a cool guy. Like, we text during the off, not anymore, but we text during the off season. And you know, leading up to that season, we were cool. Like, we had talked, and back in 2017, I beat him out for the championship by like 3 points. In 2019, I beat him out for the championship again. And you know, throughout the season, you're always butting heads. You're gonna run into each other. I feel like he ran into me a lot more than I ran into him. And, you know, they're kind of that louder crowd. They're on Facebook and everything. And, you know, a lot of my crew is not. So we're not talking all the crap on Facebook and stuff, whereas they are. So when it comes to situations, everybody's like, oh, I'm the bad guy. Just because I don't stick up for myself. I don't care about that. So, you know, we had been rivals for a long time. And at the end of the 2019 season, after I beat him out, do you know who TJ Oshie is?
Yes.
So do you know how he drinks the beer, like through his jersey?
A little bit.
Well, we did that for Tyler's Insta, like at the end of the season, and then we all, I don't know how it came to be, we were playing drunk football on the front stretch of Dominion after
That's
the last
cool.
race of the season, yeah. And so it was Hughes versus Barnes, and we had like our guys, like our buddies, and you know, we texted throughout the off season. We were cool. We like, I wouldn't say I'd say we were friends, like we were buddies, but I knew, you know, come race one, we're not going to be friends no more. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work that way with anybody. The people that you're friends with are people that aren't your competition. So the guys in the back are my buddies. So,
yeah.
And, you know, first race, we go out there and I dominated the race. And in my one YouTube video back in 2019, Tyler's backup car intentionally like wrecked himself in front of me, and I got put to the back twice because of it, and it led to us, you know, getting him back with my brother. And, you know, that was a big fight at the end of the night.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's a whole video on my channel. Well, I had the race just about won. There was 4 to go. I had like a 5-car length lead over him and then Sellers. And I'm coming up on, you know, his car runner, his lap car. That's why I call him Paul Green. And he's side by side with another lap car for, you know, half straightaway. I'm like, dude, what is going on? And the guy that he's besides is not that fast. Like, this car is way faster than that. He outqualified him by a few tenths. I'm like, dude, I
he's
see
making
what's
the car
coming.
wide. Yeah.
So then he gets in line. I'm like, thank God, he's going to get out the way. So then, you know, as a lap car, it's your job to stay on the bottom of the track. Stay down there. We're going to come around you.
Yeah.
Cuts down in front of me as I'm passing him because he wouldn't get out the way. So I passed him on the inside, ripped my right front off. Caution comes out. And luckily, they saw this one. They didn't penalize me. And I'm like, on the radio, I'm like, man, like, what's going on? We got any damage? We had a really bad right front rub. And we go back racing, green, white, checkered, and we get to the white flag. And we're coming to the white flag, excuse me. And Tyler drives through me going into 3. And just about, like, I'm almost in the wall. And you know how wide Dominion is. Like, I'm almost in the wall through 3 and 4. Caution came out. He had passed me. I went back to 5th. But it was before the flag, so I won the race because I got my spot back. And so I won the race, and, you know, our little friendship was completely over after that. And I went in the interview, and I just talked all the trash in the world. I'm like, dude, I can't stand, like, how fake he is and stuff. And, you know, it's annoying that you know, we talk to each other all season.
Yeah.
Or all off season. And, you know, I wouldn't say that you got to race somebody clean. So you talk to them and stuff and your buddies. But, dude, you know, race others the way you want to be raced.
Yes.
So I was determined to that point. I'm like, you know, he's going to get moved next time.
Yeah.
So next race, I knocked him out the way. And then we didn't really race around each other because we had, like, Looney and Morris and well, maybe Philip Morris wasn't there at this time because he had his stuff going on. But, you know, Peyton and Looney were there. So we're running 3rd and 4th on a restart. And he says that I came up into him coming up out of the corner. But there was a video. I wish I could, like, show you guys right now. But there's a video where, like, he really pins me down. And we just kind of touch, and he shoots into the wall. And, you know, now he's behind me. And he comes down across Davey Callahan. And he makes up 2 full car lengths going into turn
Driving
1.
down the corner.
Kills me. It's before I mean, I was braking, but it was not to the point where it's like you're at your slowest point yet. He jacks the rear end up. It's completely spin around. I pancake the outside wall. I didn't have a brace inside the car on the steering column, so my knee just killed it. And then I think the rear hit first, and then the front hit. So then when the front hit, my knee hit again.
Car totally demolished.
Yeah, destroyed. That car has not, other than the steering wheel, that car has not been touched.
Jeez.
And it's killed. So, you know, it's protocol that if you don't if you can't finish the race or if you can't drive a car back to the pits, you got to take a ride in the ambulance. And Chase is like, "You're all right?" Chase, my crew chief, and my spotter. He's like, "You're all right?" I'm like, "Man, I can't feel my leg." I was like, get the ambulance out here, make sure I'm okay. And I didn't think I was dying or nothing like that, just to be safe because I've had injuries before. And he's like, "You said I can cuss, right?"
Yeah.
I might have cussed already.
Yeah, I already did. I already did like 4 times.
Well, he's like, "Fucking 8-car wrecked us again." And I look up, and Tyler Hughes is sitting up against the wall in front of me. Facing me. I'm like,
this mother.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I put down the window net, and I was up against the wall. So I got out on top of the wall. And like I had said earlier, first thing I was thinking, I'm like, dude, I'm going to like beat the hell out of this guy. That was the
I'm
first
going to do a flying elbow drop through the goddamn.
Because the car that I'm running now was my new car, and it wasn't done yet. So that last car that I had was a really good car, and we were going to continue running that until this one was ready. But now we had to get this one ready because of that. But besides that, I get out, I'm on the wall.
Just 6 digits, no big deal. It's like just obliterated in one corner. Yeah. I would have jumped through the driver's side window, but not really. Either way, keep going, sorry.
But I
got out the car.
Got out the car, I'm on top of the wall. I'm like, what am I going to do now? And then I just, like a rage.
Happened quick.
It happened quick. It was within seconds of happening. It could not have been longer than 15 seconds after I just got my car destroyed. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, how could you not sit there and have a whole podcast about what my thoughts and feelings are going to be about the situation? It just happened. You are not in my shoes. You don't know what it takes to be a race car driver and stuff. And you do, but some dude on Twitter that goes to the races doesn't. Just because you get excited because your guy's doing good doesn't mean you know what it's like to be in the seat. But that's a whole different thing. And so I ran. I just jumped on the windshield. And like I said, the thing about my legs, I tucked them at the last second. I hit it. And then somebody had me in a headlock, drug me off the car. They were holding me on the ground. I had the Hans device and the helmet on, so I wasn't being choked out or nothing. They were just holding me. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Get the fuck off me. Get the fuck off me." And I'm just screaming at them. And then they let me go. And then I'm not really one for violence, which is why this is, I watch it back sometimes. I'm like, I really did that, huh?
Wow.
It doesn't seem like something I would do, but you also can't be like a little bitch. You can't get pushed around all the time.
Not at all.
So then some old guy walks on the track, and he's not that old, but he's older than me. And he's like, "Why don't you go jump on somebody else's car, motherfucker?" And I turn around, I told him I would knock his teeth down his throat if he ever spoke to me again. I have not seen that guy since.
Greatest line ever.
Yeah. And then everybody in the infield, that's the Hughes camp. We were pitted down in 3 and 4. This happened in 1 and 2. And, all of his, buddies are standing around there just, yelling. It's like, "Fuck, Doug, you're an idiot. Doug, you're an idiot." In the video, when I told that guy that I was going to knock his teeth down his throat, you just hear some guy in the background just screaming, "Doug, you're an idiot."
Yeah.
And
you fucking idiot. Or something like that.
It's like 30, 40 people saying it. And for a second, I'm like, what if that wasn't his fault? I was like, what if I just did that and that was not his fault at all? Yeah. And then I saw the wreck and I'm like, okay, I wouldn't do it again, but it's somewhat justified. And then I, like I said about my knee, well, the adrenaline took over and didn't feel it. And like I said, we were pitted down in turns 3 and 4, so my crew wasn't there at all. They were coming, they were running. My buddy Stevie was on his way up. I've been
in that situation before.
It's like in baseball when the fight breaks out and the bullpen's running.
Yeah. Well, you're trapped in a car though. Yeah. You have seatbelts on, and now you see a crew of guys coming at you that are very upset. Yeah. You, I guess, were outside of the car.
I started.
I've had it happen when they swarm me when I'm
inside
the car.
No, I've been in that
I'm
situation
like,
too.
Yeah.
Bad. People. Yeah. So all these people still just giving me hell, and Stevie gets to me. He's like, "You good, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then at that moment, as I said, it was almost like comical the way it happened. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." My leg, I could not
really
walk. I'm like, man, I cannot limp in front of these people.
What's that noise?
I have no idea.
It might be rain. It was about the rain.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm like, oh my God, my leg hurts. I'm like, don't limp in front of these people. I'm like, don't limp. So I sucked it up and I got back and my knees I'm like, oh man, this is not good.
Have you ever told anybody this?
Yeah,
publicly.
Yeah, I've said this multiple times. And so I get back there and my dad's like, "What happened?" Like everybody is saying some wild stuff happened, and because
he's like, "I was on the shitter." It's like, Dad, you haven't even seen the video at least, Dad.
Yeah. Well, this is before it came out.
Okay.
And then somebody, I think it was like a modified driver, came over and he showed me the video. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, that's funny.
That's gonna be big.
That was my reaction of it. And then Tyler's car came by on a flatbed and I showed him, I'm like, I jumped on that. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I jumped on the car. He's like, why'd you jump on the car? I'm like, dude, like he hadn't seen our car yet. He didn't realize that when I said that car was killed, that car was killed.
Oh, the whole right front wheel came
destroyed.
off of it.
It was destroyed.
Or something. I mean, it was laying on the track. It was bad.
It was
big.
It was hard.
That
was the hardest wreck I've ever had. And he's like, oh, okay. And there's a picture I took and I put on my Snapchat after that. And it's before I had like a lot of people on Snapchat because of this. And it was like, shout out Hughes. And it's like, my car sitting there, the rear clip is like this, the motor is like this. And, even the center section was messed up. It's just it was a hard lick. Those walls are not a safer barrier. Those are 2 foot thick concrete barriers.
What's up with your, speaking of Snapchat, what's up with your Snapchat Bitmoji? It's like got a top hat. I didn't see, I was friends with you on Snapchat too. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm friends with this guy on Snapchat. I didn't even know because I never like send you snaps or anything like that. And you don't like do much stories, do you?
Yeah,
maybe you do.
Not really. I used to have somebody run my before I did vlogs. I used to have somebody run my story and they would post updates. It used to be Andrew Fuller. He would post things throughout the night. But yeah, what is it? It's
like a guy with a top hat and a magic wand.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Okay,
after we're off.
Okay,
this,
yeah. I like that. A little bit of spicy extra.
It's not so much the thing; it's what he's doing. So where were we at with the situation? So,
the car was junked. It rode by. You told your dad, like, I jumped on that car.
Yeah, and then that's when the video came out, and then people were showing me, and I stayed at the track for the rest of the night because we couldn't get that car in the trailer, and so we finally got it in, and everybody around me on my side of the pits, like, it was hilarious. Everybody thought it was so funny. I thought it was funny, and and I was like, crying on the inside because I just lost my car, but I wouldn't say I took a positive out of it, but now it might be a positive, but. It was funny
I wouldn't have that cool koozie, so I took a positive out of it. Yeah. Sorry, Tyler.
Yeah, but that was the initial reaction, was that it was funny. It was like, I can't believe this guy did that. I mean, that's insane. And it reminded everybody of Michael Simcoe back in the day.
I don't remember that.
He was another driver, and he jumped through somebody's car way back in the day. And funny story, I actually ran for his cousin in the Pro Cup Series.
Really?
So came full circle.
Yeah.
And so then on Twitter, it was funny, and I took a nap on the way home, and when I woke up, it was not funny no more. Suddenly, Tyler was hurt, and I didn't know this, and I sent Tyler a text that night, outside of being, like, furious with him. I just destroyed my car. I'm like, hey, man, I was like, because I figured we'd both be at the track again, racing against each other soon. It's what always happens. He's wrecked me before. We're always back at it. I'm like, hey, man, I got some word that you're hurt. What I did might not have been the smartest thing in the world. I'm like, I'm not sure what exactly you did to put us both in that situation. This is me ad-libbing. I can't remember exactly what I said. Yeah. But I pretty much told him, I'm like, I hope you're well. We'll keep our stuff on the track. Make sure you're, like, healthy. Yeah. Worry about
most
that.
important things.
And, that's what, even regardless of how much I dislike somebody, I don't ever want to see somebody get hurt. And he never responded, obviously. And they started talking all the trash on social media, and quickly everything turned. And before Monday was doomsday. That was when I got suspended by NASCAR. I got a $1,000 fine and a year probation. And this is when everything was, like, really bad. The video was at 250,000 views. Everybody in there is saying, like, you need to be gone. Like, he needs to be out of racing.
In my yats
and
words.
Yeah. So,
however you say his name.
Like I said earlier, I don't want to be part of, like, that loud crowd. Like, I talk some trash on Facebook, or not Facebook, but, like, on Twitter and stuff. And if you say something to me, I'll probably say something back, in a joking way. But it's not like, you will never make me butthurt about something. I don't care what these people say. And we, I told my crew and my friends, I'm like, just don't reply to it. Don't give in. And then we kind of had to a little bit, because when people were telling me, like, if I went to the track, they were going to shoot me, I was like,
wow, yeah. So you were getting death threats.
I was getting death threats, yeah. But it was by burner accounts with, like, 3 followers. And
still, though, it's scary stuff.
Yeah, I guess. But
that's when you've made it, when you're getting death threats. Scary world we live in.
I'm a big racing fan, but, dude, I don't care that much. I'm not going to threaten to kill somebody. Yeah. Even if you wrecked me, I'm not going to threaten to kill you.
Yeah.
So everything went bad.
Might knock your teeth down your throat.
Yeah. I wonder who that guy was. I don't know who it was.
I don't know. He still got all of his teeth, though, and he's happy about it.
Yeah, he didn't talk to me, so. And I'm a lover, not a fighter for the most part, so.
Well, that brings me to another point. Maybe we'll go full circle with the Snapchat thing with the black hat. Mm-hmm. In Dinah's words, love him or hate him, his YouTube channel is great, Doug Barnes, or AirDoug, whatever. Are you, that's all good. Do you consider that you wear the black hat? Are you comfortable wearing the black hat? You're a nice guy. I don't
Yeah.
think you wear the black hat, but I know you. From the outside, people that don't know you,
I'm
that
a
just
bad
see
guy.
that video, they would think that, but do you wear that? I'm a Kyle Busch fan, so you're not going to offend me.
Yeah.
I see, I strive towards those people, and I love it, even though I may not be like that, but I'm a huge fan of it, of people that just own it.
Yeah.
So are you okay with, wearing the black hat instead of the white one? Do you own it, or is it just speculation, and that's kind of what's been put on you because...
I won't go out of my way to change your mind. Like I said, I don't care what these people say. Like I care somewhat about like what my peers say, like what other drivers and stuff. Like I care about their opinion. I want them to respect me because that's how you get raced with respect is by earning it. So they respect me. That's what matters. The people around me, they like me. My friends, my family, my girlfriend, and it's just these random people that don't like me. So the fact that they know my name is enough. Like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to try and change their opinion. Like I guarantee you, if any one of those people came up to me, we'd have a conversation.
It would be normal, yeah.
Yeah, they would not come up to my face and say the stuff that they're going to say on Twitter. It's not like that. And I'm not going to, sit there and fight with you over this. If you're going to think bad of me, you can think bad of me. You don't know me. And it was kind of difficult when, every day you're getting hundreds and hundreds of negative things said about
Death
you.
threats,
But I feel like in a way that almost like thickened my skin because I'm like, I'm still racing and y'all are still bitching. Like you're on Twitter and I'm in a race car. It doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
And with NASCAR, even NASCAR understood it. I got unsuspended. I got it appealed. And that never happens. You don't appeal stuff in NASCAR. It doesn't work that way. And I got it appealed. I got my probation extended. So I'm still on probation until the end of this year. So I won't be jumping on anybody until at least 2022. And that's
why I scheduled this for now. So let me get Doug in before his probation's over so he doesn't jump on me and crush my damn ribs.
But I still had to pay the fine. But
damn it.
People were not people were not happy that I got people were not it was something when I just had to pay for a brand new race car. So
yes.
People weren't happy that I got unsuspended, and we were like, oh, we'll run the car store race, kind of like what we just did this past week. We're like, oh, we're going to run it, and then we didn't wind up running it because the car wasn't ready. We didn't have the rear end this past
I was wondering what happened there.
Yeah, so we didn't get the rear end back until like 8 a.m. on Friday morning, and we were supposed to be there at like 1. So.
Okay. So speaking of Tyler Hughes or just your competitors in general, let's talk a little bit about your competitors now. Mm-hmm. Tyler Hughes isn't in a car anymore, but he's got backing, or he's backing some other cars and stuff.
Yeah, he works on the 19 of Stottlemyre. He works on his car, and then he crew chiefs for the 05 of Mason Bailey. But another thing with that whole incident is, I cannot say this 100%, but from what I've heard, the reason that Tyler is not racing is because of that incident. His car owner saw it as his fault. He took his right away, and. I can't say that's 100% true, but I've heard that from like 3 different people. And
I'll speculate with you.
Yeah, he's not in a race car, so it makes sense, and it was his fault. So.
I know Mason Bailey well. He's been on the show before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's
got. I'm just throwing this out there. Your car doesn't really have the color scheme for it, but there's 2 Turn Left podcast stickers on his car on the B pillar. If you look. So, I mean, that's up to you if you want to try to, become my favorite late model driver at Dominion. But I'm just saying he's got them on there. Like I said, his car already has yellow, so it kind of blends in. Yours, it might kind of ruin the whole car. Yeah. Pop a little bit. Your sponsors are calling you like, I don't know. What is that yellow dot? Or
yeah. But no, Mason's cool. I've only talked to him like once or twice. But we actually, at the second race of the year, we went head-to-head for a win.
I was there.
Yeah, he could have easily wrecked me, and he didn't. And to be honest, because I thought that was Tyler's guy, I'm like, I'm going to get wrecked.
Before you knew him. I was like, wreck him! Or before I knew you. No, I would say Tina was there, too, with me. And, no, it was a good race. And that was the first one that I went to this year. And obviously, at the time, I was rooting for Mason Bailey. I wouldn't tell him to wreck you, but that was a good race. And
it was.
I was just happy that it was that good of a race and it was clean and nothing
nobody wrecked,
crazy happened. Even though that would have been good too, but
not for me.
Doug's still on probation, so gonna have to wait.
I would have got wrecked and had to walk away. That's no fun.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. So you said you do listen to podcasts, mostly Joe Rogan, and every episode of Turn Left podcast, of course. But
I did watch part of the one with Alex Brock.
Well, that had bad audio. That's why we're here now.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Well, I'll explain to you after if we have time.
Okay.
I don't want to bore everybody with the audio issues. So yeah, and Davey too. He's been on the show. He's obviously been doing well. He's got a couple wins this year. Have you met him? Talked to him? Who's your?
Yeah, Davey's my buddy.
Maybe this is the question I'm getting to, which I like both those guys, so don't answer with them. Who's your biggest rival now that Tyler Hughes isn't in a car?
It's bad timing. Sorry, my mouth is really dry.
Go for it. No. But I was thinking about this because I didn't really think that you had any other beef with any other guys other than maybe him. Like, everybody looks at you as the black hat guy, even though you really only had beef with the one guy that I know
he
of.
had beef with everybody. So
yeah, so it's like, it's not like Doug goes around wrecking everybody every week. Yeah. So it's not really you, and it's just a bad situation and a viral video that gives you that.
If people pay attention to the situation, they get what goes on. I don't really have anybody that is out there to get me. I'm not out there to get anybody. But, dude, I hate losing to Peyton Sellers more than anything in the world. I cannot stand it. I can't stand it. And that's the reason why we're working so hard right now is because we're losing to him. We had him in the first half, and now we're, getting our ass whooped by him. And that's not – I don't care. I don't care that it's Peyton. I respect Peyton Sellers a ton.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you have to, or you will get crushed.
This is a good problem to have for most people. But
yes. So I respect him, and I like Peyton. He's a nice guy. And me and Peyton, the reason I respect Peyton is because we can run a qualifying lap on lap 100, and neither one of us are going to wreck. He's not going to wreck me. I'm not going to wreck him. It'll be a hard race, and that somebody might be upset at the end of it, but nobody's going to be coming back on a rollback. And I do respect him for that, but I hate losing to him. I hate losing to that Orange 26 so much. And, last year we really had everybody killed for 6 straight races. And some stuff would happen every time that knocked us out of the way. And then we beat Peyton in that $10,000 race in the 200 lapper. We beat him. It was just us two. And that was the best win of my career just because it was over Peyton. And, you show up to the track knowing who you got to beat, and it's Peyton.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you what your favorite win was earlier, but I totally forgot. Losing to Peyton obviously is, for one, easy to do. But two, it's high level expectations for somebody, that most people would never dream of. But you're obviously a great driver. I ask this to some of the high level competitors that I have on here that would be on the level of Peyton Sellers, like yourself. Do you hate losing more than you love winning?
Yes.
Well, that's a good thing.
1,000,000%, because
it sucks. It sucks.
It's
but
terrible.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, because especially with the way we race. Every other week, I got to sit on that for 2 weeks, especially if you lose a close one. Those are, the worst ones. And, you win and you're comfortable, and being comfortable is not a good feeling. I like the feeling of when we first cross the stripe, and by the time that we're going home, I'm like,
you've lost it.
We have work to do because we won the first race by half track.
Yeah.
And, we won the second race too, but I guarantee you that we worked hard, but I guarantee you after getting your ass whooped by half track, everybody else was in the shop working harder than us, and they caught up.
Yeah.
And, it sucks to say because we work hard, but...
it's not like y'all were just sitting on the couch.
We weren't just doing nothing,
yeah.
but,
You're just that competitive nature in you is undeniable.
That's how I feel right now because, we haven't won in a month, so it's...
I can't even imagine that desire on the level that you're in. I had that type of, ambition, but in mini stock, street stock, stuff like that. So it's I feel like my world's going to end if I don't win this, street stock or mini stock race.
That's how I've treated every level of racing.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't think you belong in a race car if you don't. And that's not true. You can do whatever you want, but you're not going to be a successful driver if you don't have the desire to win. If you don't go out there and think, I will do whatever it takes to win.
You can be in a race car, but don't drive it. Just sit in it.
Yeah, just take some pictures in a garage.
Yeah.
Do the meet and greet.
Well, I think that's good. All right. Well, maybe we'll close off on that. Do you have anything else you want to say, or any sponsors you want to plug, or anything like that? Obviously, your YouTube channel is AirDoug. Go subscribe to that.
Yep.
Subscribe to this one. Obviously, this episode will be they'll by the time they're seeing this, it'll be uploaded. So.
Yeah.
But any sponsors you want to shout out?
Well, just our company, Barnes Paving, and then Jones Junction. They're coming on and helping us a lot. Yeah, they're the main sponsor now. So we got them on the car last week, this week, and then we'll have them on the car for a while. And then outside of that, just, the YouTube channel. Because I feel like we are really producing
high-level content.
And it's only getting better. And it doesn't seem to really matter what we talked about earlier. It doesn't seem to matter where the finishes are. The videos are getting better regardless. And I feel like it's only a matter of time until it hits the, either the right person or the right crowd, and then it's, up from there.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know how it can get better. I'm just that technologically not advanced. I just don't understand how you could do more. But I guess you could just do more filming and then more editing, and you could just make it. I don't know. It's always.
You'd be
possible.
surprised how much it'd be 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking up how to do a certain transition for a millisecond in the video. But if I don't add it, then whenever I watch the video back, I remember that 1 second. I'm like, I should have did that, man. I'm like, come on.
Well, that's good too. That's competitive drive, and you wanting that. But yeah, I know because I messaged you a couple times about the show at like 12:30, and you messaged me back. I'm like, damn, this kid's up.
Yeah,
probably editing 30-hour video or something. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming out all the way. You're the first out-of-state guest, even though you were down at Dominion already.
Yeah.
But
it's still an hour drive, so
yeah, hour drive. Appreciate it, dude. And if you ever want to come back on, just let us know. If anybody asks, this is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify too. If any of your friends ask or anything.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, give us a review because I don't have any yet. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to AirDoug and obviously this channel, Turn That Podcast. And thanks for coming out, dude. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.